initially we invested heavily on R&D. And then just like in the corporates, and very quickly you realize that you can have great R&D products, but you have problems actually rolling out into the market. So that's how we start to realize that it's very important to get private sector involved, because private sector will be the one who will be able to do commercial scale up, and they have the marketing skills and they have the market reach. So we need to find the mechanisms to actually work with the private sector. So within the foundation, we set up a in-house social impact. You could see it like an in-house social impact investment fund. So this is we set aside $2 billion to do this type of investments, because when on the one hand, it's important that private sector play a role, but on the other hand, from risk return point of view, there are many situations where it doesn't immediately make sense for private sector to actually invest in some of these projects. So the foundation's funding really comes in to de-risk in a way, so that the private sector guys will have that transition period before the market proves itself and it becomes a fully self-sustainable business. So we created a pool of $2 billion to actually invest in private sector. So far we have invested about $1.5 billion out of the $2 billion, and worked and invested in over 60 companies using different financial instruments that you are all very familiar with. Some are equity investments in early technology, VC type of investments, and some are volume guarantees against the multinationals. We provide a guarantee if the sales volume doesn't reach a certain level, so that the companies will have the incentives and the assurance to actually invest in the capacity and go into some of the low profit products like the vaccines and malaria drugs, right? So that's a way of what we call it the financial innovation. So very concrete example of how the investment actually get used is this one. It's a company called M-Kopa. So this is a Kenya-based company. It's a subsidiary of another company called M-Pesa. And M-Pesa is the largest mobile money service provider in Kenya. The idea of this is how do you provide off-grid electricity to individual households, and how do you finance that? So M-Kopa's technology innovation that they came up with is a solar unit that costs about slightly over $100, right? And that can be actually purchased and used in household environment very beautifully. But the problem is, even it's only $100, it's actually expensive, right? And a lot of the poor people actually cannot afford that. And so that's where, mobile financial service and the foundation's what we call the program-related investments or impact investment funding comes in place. So we invested $5 million as a loan, as a credit pool, right, for M-Pesa to finance the individual households who purchase the unit. And this is workable because the M-Kopa's parent is the M-Pesa, the mobile money service company. So that actually makes it possible for these individual households to pay back over time in small amount at a more flexible pace. So our $5 million actually get the program started, and because of this, in a way, we proved that these unbankable customers, actually there is a way by using mobile money service to make them bankable. So at the moment, this electricity unit has been used in 250,000 families in Kenya. So that's an example of how you can use financial skills and financing innovations to actually, in a way, we call to make the market work for the poor.